for a good application. Number one, you need LOR. What is an LOR? Wow, everyone knows about LOR. Wow. So LOR stands for letter of recommendations. So you need at least three LORs. Having four LORs doesn't hurt, but you need at least three LORs. And it depends what type of MS you are targeting, like what type of LORs you need. Oh, and now let me just bring this to the point. What are the different types of MS? I'm not talking about the different specializations. I'm talking about a higher category of MS. There are basically two types of MS: research-based MS and subject-based MS, or professional MS also they are called. The research-based MS, like when you're doing for one, they are usually 2 years of they cover usually 2 years, the research-based MS, and for 1.5 years you'll study subjects, and for the last 6 months you'll be doing your independent research. You'll be working on a project, and you have to write a thesis, something like what PhD people do. You have to write a thesis, you'll write a research paper, and you'll have to get a paper published. In most good universities, they have a rule that you have to get the paper published. So the paper has to be of good quality. Research-based MS is recommended for those people who like, who want to get into computer science research. Now this is a very vague definition. What do I mean by computer science research? See, there are two types of, broadly speaking, there are two types of careers you can get into being an engineer. Not being a computer science, any engineer. One type of career is you work from some company, you work on the products they are building, and you get paid for it. Right? Everyone is familiar with this? Because this is the most common case. Second kind of job which you'll get is an R&D job. What does R&D stand for? Yes, everyone knows this. Research and development. In R&D, you'll also work for the same company, but you'll be working in a lab, and you'll be pushing the boundaries of your subject. You'll be thinking of new and innovative ways to solve existing problems. Okay? This does not mean that while you're building a product you won't face problems. You'll face problems everywhere in life. That is the given fact. The thing is, R&D is a different kind of life. I'll say it's a different kind of life. And a regular product development thing is different. So, depending upon your preference, you have to choose which type of MS you want. The research-based MS, you can usually people after doing the research-based MS, they work for 2 or 3 years and then they do PhDs, and then they work again. Okay, and the first category, the professional MS, they are usually targeted towards people who have already worked in a company, or who may be coming straight from the college, like from their undergrad college, and they are for 2 years, or even sometimes they are just 1 year in duration. There you'll just be taught subjects and you'll work on projects. Foreign universities are not like UIT, where no one cares what you have made, they just want a project report, handwritten honi chahiye. They don't care. They want something solid, something tangible, something actual to be built. Otherwise they'll fail you. Very simple. They're much more strict in the requirements. So, it's your choice what you want to do, professional MS or research-based MS, depending upon your interests. And third option, one more option is there. Why do an MS at all? If you are so into research, why not go straight to PhD? This is also a very good option. I'll cover this in a bit. So, any questions up till now? Yes.
How can we get LORs?
How can we get LORs? Good question. Yeah, actually, I was coming to the question. I forgot in the midst. If you're doing a professional MS, it is recommended that you get 2 LORs from your college professors. Okay, the best college professors you can find, and probably those professors under whom you worked, with whom you worked on some project. It could be a research project, or it could be a regular. Hello. Or it could be a regular project. Okay, so if you get an LOR from that professor, and that professor, depending upon his reputation, how good of a professor he is, that judges the weight of your LOR. 2 from college professors, and 1 from the people who you were working with. Professional MS assumes that before applying, you must have worked for 1 or 2 years before applying. If you came straight from college, then it is obvious you need 3 LORs from 3 college professors. Okay, but you can also, if you have a good internship, like something like Google Summer of Code, or you work for Zomato or some other company like Amazon, during your summer intern or your 6-month interns, that is also, they can also give you an LOR, the manager you work for there. So it all depends what is the perceived value of your LOR. But if you are looking for a research-based MS, then only 3 academic, which means the LORs must be coming from your professors. And if your professors are PhDs, very good. Those are good LORs. Depending on it, also they also consider from where your professors did the PhD. Okay, and so this covers LORs. Any other question up till now? Yeah.
Are CSC students referred to IT students?
Yeah, very good question. You need another chocolate. No, this is a very good question. Many people wrongly assume, like, I am from mechanical. I cannot do. I did my undergrad from mechanical, not me, someone. And I cannot do a master's in CS. It will be, it's horrible, it's blasphemous, it's sacrilege. This is wrong. You can do an MS in whatever field you want as long as you have the LOR to back you. If your mechanical professor says that this student took a lot of CSC courses, or even during mechanical he worked on projects which involved computer science, then you won't have any problem into getting into this CSE MS. And especially the branches which are related to computer science, like electronics, electrical, IT, those branches don't have any problem in switching their field, switching their subject, switching their specialization in MS. Mechanical, it's a bit difficult, but it's not impossible, it's not unheard of. And some famous universities don't even have specializations. Like an MS, usually what happens when you go to do an MS, for every specialization there are labs. There are well-funded labs in every university. Like there's a data science lab, there's a robotics lab, there is a like cloud computing lab. There are labs. But at Harvard, there is only one lab. They'll be like, everyone goes to the lab and everyone works. They don't care you're from biology, you're from psychology, you're from computer science. If you can work together, work. If you can study together, study. They don't care. Okay? Yeah, question? Any question?
Regarding internship, कि हम internship कंपनी में की है, हम कैसे पता करें कि ये internship में हम join कर सकते हैं? This application how can we
I don't understand your question. You are asking how to go for an
internship in a company? How can I apply with that?
You want to, how to get an internship? Okay. I think a little bit Ankit also covered. Basically, to get an internship, you need to contact the recruiters of the company. And you need to interview for that internship. An internship is just like a mini job. And to get a mini job, you need to do interviews. And there are many programming competitions. For like Google Summer of Code is an internship. In all respects, it is a virtual internship. Okay, and they need you to show to the organization that you are capable. You can work with the organization. You have built a solid proposal. You have been in constant touch with the organization. Okay, you seen that ad of Airtel? बात करने से ही बात बनती है. That is not a joke. That is very true in life. The only way you will get ahead in life is by communicating. So if you want to get into, for example, you want an internship at Amazon, you need to contact them and you need to tell them like, hey, I have certain skills, I have worked on these projects, and I would really like it to work under so and so field of so and so department of Amazon because of these reasons. Okay, and if they like your projects, they'll call you for an interview for the internship. If your interview goes well, you have an internship at Amazon. If your internship goes well, you have a job at Amazon. It's as simple as that.
So recently Flipkart ने भी internship
Yeah, a lot of companies offer internships because it's difficult to hire good programmers, to hire good engineers just by doing a few hours interview or like 2 3 day interview. During an internship, they can judge you better, like whether you are a better match for their company or not, whether you actually possess the skills you showcase in your resume or not, right?
So,
Yeah,
so can you tell something about off-campus placements?
off-campus placements. I think Ankit is more suitable to cover that, but कल cover करते हैं वो. Let's talk about that tomorrow.
Please write it down and ask us.
Huh?
Please write it down and ask us.
Yeah, take a note and ask us again tomorrow in case we forget. Yeah, who was asking?
सर
Yeah.
सर अगर हम किसी ओपन सोर्स प्रोजेक्ट में काम करते हैं तो हमें एलओआर देंगे प्रोवाइड करेंगे जैसे वीएलसी के साथ हम काम
हाँ, very good question. He says if we work for some open source organization, will they provide us an LOR? Yes. If your work is satisfactory, like but if you work properly and you are communicating with them properly and you are showing results, why won't they give you an LOR? Okay. If they feel that you have done your work, which they will if you have done your work, then they'll give you an LOR. Right? By just successfully completing a whole summer of code, it is not an LOR, but it's still a very positive thing in your resume for doing an MS. It separates you from a lot of other people. How many people apply for GSOC every year? 1 lakh something?
No, 4,000.
Only 4,000?
4,000, 4,800.
4,800 or something like that. My estimates were way off. And 1/4 of them are selected, around 1,000 are selected. 1,000 something. So even if you are among those 1,000 from those 4,000, that shows that you have caliber, that you actually found out about GSOC, you actually bothered to prepare a proposal for GSOC. That shows a lot of things. And not even GSOC, there are many internship opportunities all over India. You can even do a research-based internship at some IIT. Most IIT professors on their websites, they usually give a call for internships. They'll be like, I need a so-and-so intern for so-and-so project. And sometimes even if they don't give a call, you can always write them an email. But the best thing is to go and meet them in person. Because most IIT professors have spam filters and your email will automatically go into the spam folder because they get a lot of useless email. People who cannot spell email properly write their emails. How horrendous that must be, right? They have to deal with that insanity. So that is why they use spam filters. Best way is go to the professor, and before going to the professor, make sure you have studied his work. What is he researching on? What does the professor like to do? How can you help the professor in his work? And then approach the professor, and he'll interview you. Okay, if he's not too busy, and then you can even get an internship under an IIT professor. The problem is many people assume we are from UIT, we are from a shitty college, we can't do an internship in IIT because we'll require some arcane, mysterious coding knowledge which only the gods of computer science possess. Bullshit.
Do we need LOR for the same? Or communicating
Do you need an LOR for what?
for getting project under any IIT program?
No, you don't need an LOR.
You need good grades.
You
At
need,
least above 8.
yeah, IIT professors value grades because they are Indians. They value grades. No, it's an Indian bias. Like, इसको तो percentage अच्छा नहीं है तो नहीं कम्मा है. Okay, that is not true in most things in life. But still, it is a way to filter people out. So, if you have good grades and you have done good projects in your first and second year, the professor will be interested, might be interested, or the professor might have his hands full. Sometimes the professors already have the interns. So they'll be like, sorry, I can't do. But you have to go and talk to the professors. Na? It is always beneficial if you have some relative. Hello. It is always beneficial if you have someone, some of your relatives or someone in your contact circle who knows the professors at IITs. That way, at least you can contact them easily. I'm not saying, blackmail your relative. Like, come on, whatever you do, I need to get internship under that professor. That is not right.
7.15 pointer. I did internship at IIT Bombay last 2 months, so it's possible. And the reason why I got it was because I was very good at my AI level. Okay, so the professor who taught us AI, he forwarded my application to the IIT professor, and then I got selected. Yes, Naveen Agarwal. So some professors are good here. So don't lose hope.
That's a very misleading example. He's brilliant at his coding skills, and Naveen Agarwal is an awesome professor. That's why he might have recommended it, but that is a misleading thing. Please keep your pointers above 7.5. Maximum companies में तुम बैठ नहीं सकते हो. Let me reassure you. Maximum companies में तुम नहीं बैठ पाओगे. अगर 7 से ऊपर रखना पहले बात, और कुछ companies 7.5. If you can get 8, very good. Reappearance भूल जा, फिर कोडिंग वोडिंग छोड़, पहले अपने सब्जेक्ट्स क्लियर कर ले भाई. 4 साल कॉलेज में बना के फायदा नहीं है. घर वाले और तंग करेंगे. You would be under mental pressure. Why do you want to go through that? Why do you want to get it back? 8 से above.
See, reappears are dangerous for an MS application. I'm not saying it's still impossible to get into a good university, but still it lowers our chances considerably, right? The thing is, yeah. What is the difference between MTech and MS? Good question. Basically, MTech is a kind of like a lower emphasis MS. In India, most what is your course called in UIT? BE, right? Sometimes it's called BSc, BS, and sometimes it's called BTech. So it's just a variation. But usually MTech is only in India, and MS, while also being offered by some IITs, is usually the term used by like foreign universities. Yeah.
A better idea about MTech and MS is, in foreign, MTech is treated as a 2-year course where you want to come, learn some new skills and get back to the market again. It is created for people who are already there in the market, but you want to learn new skills. So you come in, 2 years of MTech, and you go back to the market with some new skills. Whereas MS is for research purposes. MS they give you for 5 years time, because to have a research, to put up a good research, that is the roughly amount of time you require, 5 years. That's why most of the MS in foreign give you 5 years time to take time for a research, do it properly. And India में सबसे बड़ा पंगा इसका है कि इंडिया में MS बहुत ज़्यादा गलत तरीके से ट्रीट किया जाता है. वो बताओ.
See, it's slightly misleading because he was right on the most part. What's slightly misleading is that usually the MS takes 2 years or 2.5 years at max. It depends upon you how fast you can study and how much money do you have. If you have infinite amounts of money, then you can take 6 years to complete an MS, and you will be judged. But still, MS usually is done fast because the scope of your research is not that big. What does take 5 years is PhD. Yes, PhD needs at least 5 years, 4 or 5 years, because any less than that and you can't do solid original research in PhD. Like there is someone at the back asking a question, some girl in pink. Was it you? Yeah, ask your question.
I was asking which is the best time that we should start preparing for GRE and give this exam in either 4 years?
See, that's a very good question. You should get a chocolate. मैं फेंकूंगा पहुंचेगा नहीं. हाँ, so when should you give the GRE? When should you start preparing? See, the best time to give the GRE is somewhere around 3rd year. 4th year, like Ankit said, no time. 2nd year, like you're just focusing on your skills, the programming skills. The best time to give a GRE is 3rd year, not the TOEFL, only the GRE. And the best thing about GRE scores is they are valid for 5 years. Your GRE scores are valid for 5 years. So even after completing college, you work for 1 or 2 years, your GRE score is still valid, right? Best time to give the GRE is 3rd year, because in 3rd year you have quite a lot of free time to prepare. And with college, I'll say you will need around, it depends. If your English is good, like those people from ICSE who got good score in their English, or even from CBSE schools,